You know, it's funny, a lot of guys that I've talked to about cheap dating, they go, well, you know, you're like an older guy, how can you tell me about cheap dating? It's very simple. I made all the mistakes, okay? Everybody needs an Uncle Cheap Date. And I just want all the guys out there to know that I'm here for them. I've made all the mistakes. I'm gonna make sure they don't make all the mistakes. And I'm officially adopting every single one of you who's watching or listening to my voice right now. You're my official nephews and in some instances nieces of Uncle Cheap Date. I'm going to teach you what Uncle Cheap Date knows so you can be a successful cheap date. Hi, I'm Bruce Brown, creator of the Cheap Date system. Now, you might ask yourself, what makes me an expert on cheap dating? Well, I don't know if I'm an expert, but I certainly have had my share of, let's say, unpleasant experiences spending too much money on dates. A little quick background on me. I'm a licensed private investigator. I've probably been on 1,000 dates easy. You ever have those experiences where you spent too much on a date? Could have been $50, $100, $200. One time I spent $300 on a date and found out later, not only did she have a boyfriend, she just liked the fact I was spending money on her. She had no interest whatsoever. That kind of stuff, I hope that'll never happen to you. Reason why I am talking to you is because I have made all the mistakes. I don't want you to make any of the mistakes I've made. So that's one of the reasons why I created the Cheap Date system. It's based upon a book that I did a few years back. I've now updated it. Now it's a digital system for inexpensive dating. Make sure you go to cheapdatesystem.com and sign up for my free newsletter. And let's see if we can't save you some money and some heartache. The money you have for dating, most of it should remain in your wallet. There are certain tricks that most gold diggers or real materialistic women kind of pull. You can also sometimes spot it from conversation. When you strike up a conversation with them, they're frequently, you know, talking about cars, talking about expensive jewelry, purses, clothes, that sort of thing. You just have to keep your ears open. But one of the best ways, and this happens all the time, and if you get this, you just want to run like crazy because this one wants to get a hold of your wallet and she wants to put it in her purse. If you ask somebody out on, for instance, a classic cheap date, one of my favorite cheap dates is you call somebody up or you're talking to them and you say, look, I'm going to go to some art gallery openings next Friday night. How would you like to join me? Now, if they say, oh, well, that sounds nice, but can't we have dinner first at, and they name some expensive restaurant or a restaurant you're not aware of, never, ever, ever, rule of thumb by the way, never, ever, ever go to any restaurant or any eating establishment or any bar that you don't know everything about. How much they charge, whether there's a cover, what's the minimum, how much things cost. You have to know everything about it. If you don't, just back out. Just say, no, I don't think that's a great idea. Why don't we meet after dinner or something like that. Gold diggers are always going to try and get you to spend as much money as quickly as possible. So you can spot that. Another thing they like to do is if you say, you know what, why don't we go out to, I know this really great Mexican restaurant, it's kind of a hole in the wall, but it just got reviewed by blah, 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 and it's a great place. And they go, you know, that's okay, but I'd rather go here. Usually the here is going to be 2 to 10 times what you were going to spend at your restaurant. So don't let women pull that stuff on you. I used to be a sucker for that stuff all the time. A lot of guys, we get faked into it. It's a classic gold digger move. If you see her pulling that, if you really want to be conservative, just dump her right then. But otherwise, just hold your own. Remember, it's your money. You get to pick. When she's asking you out and she's paying, fine. Any place she wants to go, that's great. But if you're paying, it's your wallet, it's your plan, it's your date. So don't let a woman coerce you, let's say, into spending more money than you're planning or than you have. We're out of time. I just want to say thanks for watching. I'm Bruce Brown, creator of the Cheap Date system. And I want to remind you, if you haven't already signed up for my free newsletter, okay, my free cheap date newsletter, go to cheapdatesystem.com and do that. Also, it'll allow you to access some interesting articles on cheap dating. So you can look at those. And you can find out more about the cheap date system, which, as a friend of mine says, is a lot cheaper than most guys spent on their last 2 dates that didn't even get them a kiss goodnight at the door. So thanks for watching. Looking forward to seeing you next time. And whatever you do, make sure you have fun, but make sure you're cheap dating.